Hey detectives, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we met with a bunch of communists, or two, and now we're gonna go try to talk to Joyce and Evrart, the major faction leaders, and see if we can get a last bit of information out of them. Alright, let's find Joyce, and let's find Mr. Union Leader. Hey Kim, what's up?
Yes?
Morning.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with?
I think maybe we should get the signature, but the thing is, objectively, I'm not even sure it's the wrong idea. It's been way more than a day. How are we doing as far as these go? Oh, it doesn't process while I'm sleeping, I always forget. Okay, it's gonna be a while before we have Wasteland of Reality then. Not sure if this is actually helpful or not, but I can just forget it if it's not. There's only one other thing that I really would be looking for as far as thoughts, which would be there's one that unlocks all white checks, which is handy. Alright, short term. Right, I should restock the trap. And where did is Joyce out here now, or what is she doing? Oh yeah, she's parked up here now. Okay.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast.
What's up, Joyce?
I'll just keep the Cordelechi in the channel, if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier.
She winds the mooring line around a post.
Aye, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way.
Of course. Jetty. I prefer a good jetty to a pier any day. Jetty?
Something
Okay.
about the way she says it makes you want to sing.
Jetty.
Oh, jetty, oh, jetty.
She responds mournfully.
It's good to see you here, detectives. I only just arrived myself.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now, so I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
And yet you still haven't started to, furl your sails when in dock.
That. And she's also keeping an eye on you.
Spying on us over here, Joyce.
Spying has such a negative connotation. I did track your progress along the coast, however, and decided I would be better able to assist you from here. Then there's the matter of that little scamp in old lady clothes. She threatened to paint the Cordelechi red. Like blood, you see. Well, I like it the way it is. White.
So how do you like it here?
How do I like it?
She casts her gaze toward the village. Slush melting on the cinder blocks. Construction work left half finished 10 years ago.
Water drips down eaves of Eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name. All the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there?
She squints her eyes.
I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Pornographically poor is one way to put it.
Survey the coast leading up to Martinez. Dull grey metal rests in her scabbard. A sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, madame, the RCM is on the scene.
All right. Politics time. Let's react.
Place is doomed one way or another.
Maybe.
She leans against the railing, looking up at the grey sky.
Above you, there forms a quilt of altocumulus clouds, twisting into each other. The wind tugs and stretches them, over the bay. Their cloud shadows slide over the ruins of Revachol West. Wherever they pass, the temperature drops slightly, but perceptibly.
Have I told you how they discovered this place?
This island? The wind picks up, her raincoat flaps in the gust.
No, they're in Sealindian, Isola.
What is an Isola exactly?
I'm guessing you don't know then.
No, you haven't told me.
Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty.
Hey, oblivion, that's so me.
I knew you would sympathize. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means. Our home. This island of matter. Or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. For now, how can I assist you in this new location?
Well, tell me now, we have time.
Do we?
He glances at his watch. Doesn't look like he does.
I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you. Maybe there is something else I can assist you with while you're hot in pursuit.
Well, that's all for now then. Alright.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it.
Don't have much
The wind
chance of persuading her to date us. The old woman, I think we will try to talk her into signing that well, I've been thinking about it, and one, it's a quest and I hate not finishing quests, but two, there's 2 people that live in this village, and otherwise it is indeed just pornographically poor, as Joyce put it. But 2 people, and they barely have functioning houses, and one of them is going to die. I mean, the old woman kind of crude to put it that way, but she's not going to last much longer.
The trap stands empty near the reeds. No insect sounds or movement around. Only the reeds' apprehensive hissing. Rain drips from the mesh of the trap.
So what I'm getting at basically is I still want to talk to I want to talk to Everard first about it, but this is the kind of place that the government would eminent domain in a heartbeat if it was functional, right? Like if somebody put up a youth center plan, there would be practically no hesitation about just bulldozing the place and building over it by a modern functional government. It's probably not actually that unethical. Assuming Claire actually builds a youth center. Anyway,
The
let's release the
locusts,
locusts.
dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good. Now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
Soon, Kim, soon. Okay, I have to report back to Lena again. I need to read a brief look at inframaterialism. I need to look at that. Wait, why is the travel button only okay? Can I only do it when I don't have Kim with me? Maybe. Well, I reckon we ought to run back. I guess there again. Ought to run back. We can report to Lena. We can call the radio again. And we can talk to Everard, hopefully. Church thing we'll do later in the day after we have our physical instrumentability back. car first.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist? Yes.
Boots. Oh,
It
finally.
isn't convincing, but I got the mercenary's name and a few biographical details. Are you ready?
It's actually a little like this probably isn't really relevant anymore, but yeah.
The lieutenant leans in to listen, notebook in hand.
Shoot.
That suit of armor was issued to an Oranese citizen named Ellis Cortenaer. That's Ellis Kortenaer. Exact date of birth, unknown. He was signed into the Lelystad County Neonatal Care Unit on 28th of February, '09.
Neonatal care unit?
He was found as a newborn in a leaf compactor near an abandoned farm. He spent 4 months in the neonatal unit, survived apparently, and was assigned to a foster family at 2.
Rough start.
This is what the ICP knows about him. He was raised by foster parents, entered the Eastbrand Military Academy in Vredefort at 17, then served in the Oranese forces till he was honorably discharged in 41, just a year before the Seminese conflict.
Okay.
Then the armor followed him to Seminine, or at least I assume it did. And that's it. There are no records of his employment in Crenel, or any of its other incarnations, or him even entering Revachol.
Born 09. Enlisted then in 26. 15 years in the Oranese military. Okay. He was found in a leaf compactor?
It's a garden tool used to press leaves into these cubes. It's a detail the hospital had, the only detail in these files. So I thought it would be good for you to know.
It is. Thank you, Alice.
It's probably irrelevant, but it's good to know. Any information about his foster parents?
None, officer. Sorry.
So the only thing we got is the armor, really?
Even that is a small miracle. These organizations usually double-check their inventory. Thank you, Alice. Great work.
No problem, Lieutenant.
Oh, there's his name and service record.
A name. This is very good. Ellis Cortenaer.
I'm glad the inquiry was helpful to your investigation, officer. Did you have any other questions?
Nope, I think that'll do it.
57's over and out.
Voice
In the cabin,
disappears into the
you
wind.
see a set of steering levers.
I'm gonna hold on to this skill point until I've internalized this. It's only an hour. Why can I travel again now? What the hell determines this? Okay, tasks. Yes, I'd like to talk to a Farart, and I'd like to report about the phasmid. Let's report about the phasmid first. Oh, and we should read the book, but that can happen later. Where'd Morel go now?
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face.
My god. I feel like I should quick save just in case, because I don't want to get locked out, but it's
Hello, dear.
not having her tell us about the cool
Good to see a
cryptids
familiar
are
face.
basically zero.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. You're chummy. Just go on and ask.
Hey, Lena, I'd really like to hear about some of those juicy cryptids you studied. Could you tell me about a couple?
Oh, I'd be delighted.
Is this bird on the tie a cryptid?
No, it's the cryptid.
Wow. The cryptid?
Oh, yes.
Small silvery skull shines between your fingers, its beak sharp. Okay, what is it?
The eight-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have
35
gone
foot
extinct
wingspan.
3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until it was sighted by renowned Gottwaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
Need to hear about this sighting.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm.
And Umrau is...
The world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Erg Desert, an ancient riverbed completely dried up.
What happened?
Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird, it seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uva got there, the Teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times.
Just following it?
Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plottenkalk followed the Teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally landed to rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist.
Watch out.
Then, the Teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird.
Wow.
The bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back. Every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uva spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away.
But hold on, how did he survive to tell us this story?
The 8-eyed Teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind.
Wow. 8-eyed mind-controlling bird? That's a little much.
Guess way, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Wamrao is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
He's sincere. He likes the audacity of it.
It is rather audacious. This one I don't think I believe in, because, like, mind control? Are we sure the doctor wasn't just hallucinating? That was the last anyone saw of it?
Sadly, yes. But there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Il Mara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
A large 8-eyed eagle. Maybe, although 8 eyes is kind of crazy. Mind control's a bit of a stretch.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know?
What's the biggest cryptid?
That would be the giant of Kokonur.
She says, as if it's common knowledge.
The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes.
What do we mean, strange light?
Mirage or psychogenous luminance.
And just how big is it?
No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost 1/3 of your field of vision.
Is it dangerous?
The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Yeah.
Oui. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
It's definitely a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. a species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support.
Yeah, I don't buy that one either.
There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Okay, what's the smallest cryptid?
Cryobacter catlensis.
Cryobacter catlensis?
Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago.
Is this one special?
The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate. Certainly from before recorded history.
Well, that, I think, is actually possible.
Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study. No doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life.
She injected herself with it?
Yes. The bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see. But do go on.
So, is she still wandering around?
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream.
I mean, I imagine she probably died after she vanished into the wilderness, but okay. What's the most dangerous cryptid?
The gnome of Jeroma.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Oh, it is. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
What did this one look like?
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
She says, mostly to herself.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
Does seem awfully convenient, Lena.
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again.
Any invisible cryptids?
What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
You're right, Kim, but I need to know.
Okay, I won't spoil your fun. What is the invisible cryptid?
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible.
What?
The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
A whisper, light, and low?
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory.
What evidence is there of it being a sound?
Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of areopagi ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds.
Not
The
eagerly.
scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest-pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Coldamamadaqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them.
Name them?
Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadaqua they followed individually.
Why are they so afraid of us?
That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction.
Do we drive a sound wave to extinction?
They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadaqwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear?
They cancel each other out.
Psst.
They cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population.
That's unfortunate.
After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Coldamamadaqua population anywhere.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear.
Could it be here, right now?
It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights.
Interesting.
What about what?
None of these 5 that we just asked about are real, except maybe the bacteria could be real. But it didn't give anyone any mortality. She was just already crazy because she injected bacteria into herself and then vanished into the wilderness. The other 4 are pretty much certainly fake. The Phasbin we're looking for is a lot more believable, though. It's just a weird stick bug. This has been educational.
Of course, dear.
Restocked the empty trap. Where's Morel?
Thank you for doing that, dear.
She manages a smile for you.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him.
It's probably for the best. It's awfully cold out there in those reeds.
I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say.
Her voice is shaky. What is going on here?
So, who's going to check the traps?
Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
Something tells me it's up to me again.
No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool's errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary. You have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Be real. Gary is not going to help with this.
We'll take care of it.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
What's wrong, Lena? You seem different.
Different? How?
The half moons of her glasses reflect you as she looks up at you.
Answering a question with a question, for example. Defensive isn't her usual style.
You're on the back foot.
I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then.
Doubt about cryptids?
It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer. Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream?
Entirely possible.
Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not.
But Morel and you both told me you'd seen it.
Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
You seem to believe it happened. Isn't that accounting for something?
No, sweetie. There's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That, and for years his belief made me believe too. But now we're both getting old and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
That seems important to pass. Well, you're not sure you made it up either.
I'm not sure of anything. Sometimes I still see it, you know. The real memory. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart.
Memories like that are like, our brain fills in, what, like 75% of those or something? It's not very accurate at all.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary.
Need any help getting to
Oh
him?
no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
Alright, you do that, I'll check the traps one more time.
Really?
Yes, Kim.
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel.
Alright, well, can I have your address just in case there's news?
Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock, but
Be careful out there, Lena.
you too, sweetie.
She flicks a switch.
Thank you for everything, truly. Even though it turned out to be a...
The sentence remains unfinished.
A waste of time. A lie. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence.
Yeah, that sounds
Like
right.
that, she drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to
wasn't
the
very
doors,
quiet.
then pushes them open. Outside, it's raining.
We should go too.
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more.
Okay, one last thing. Let's see if I can go talk to Ivrock Claire. Frankie, it's raining today. Thanks for watching, detectives. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And have a nice day, detectives. This is Sea Lord Jenda, signing off.